Welcome back to my channel. My name is Colleen and I am on a journey of self-improvement. But today we are working on my baby shower present for my cousin. She is having her baby in about 6 weeks, give or take. And my present to her was making freezer meals. And when I had my son, what really saved us was when our neighbors and friends brought us dinners or brought us like muffins and things like that we could eat really easily or eat while feeding him, because you were always tired, you were always hungry, you were just running on fumes, and the thought of cooking something, So I pitched the idea to her and she loved it. So I sent her a list of a bunch of different recipes. I've never really made freezer meals, so we'll see how this turns out. She sent me back a handful of ones that she really liked, and I'm going to attempt to make them and really hope they taste good. Okay, so for these items, I did make it all into a list, figure out exactly how much of everything I need. I also took that list. It doesn't look really great. It just has all my check marks. So I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have about 13 of the things already. So that will help me a lot with buying. So I'm going to make this really easy for myself, and I'm going to do a grocery pickup at my local Walmart. I'm going to do it this morning so I can get all the cooking done. And my total for what I needed came out to $56. Alright, so my husband has left to go do the Walmart pickup order. So I'm going to start prepping the veggies. I'm going to cut up 3 onions. These I already had. And the rest of my sad potatoes. You can see here, these desperately need to be used. I cut these up, skin them, chop them up, boil them. I've got my potatoes all cut up. Go ahead and get this boiling. I'm going to add a pinch of salt. Okay. So I have this problem where I think I can cut onions. I cannot. So I've switched methods. Now, if you hate cutting onions like I do, put them in a food processor. They will come out real tiny, but at least you won't be crying forever. Now, I normally start with just pulsing it and then I'll put it on low. Now, after a few pulses, you will have to get in there and kind of mix it up, and then just keep doing it until there's no more big chunks like you see here. All right, the mashed potatoes are done. I just added sour cream, milk, and butter and whipped them all up. I'm gonna let these cool and just set them aside while I start working on all the ground beef. So all of these recipes call for about 3 pounds of ground beef. So I just bought a big one from Walmart. So you can see here, it has these little tick marks. So that's about a pound, about a pound, about a pound. I'm gonna go ahead and get these all cooked up and ready to go. Okay, so this one is just for the pizza casserole. And I don't have a meat masher, so this will have to do. And for this one, we're just browning it up. So the ground beef for the pizza casserole is done. So I've got some water boiling here for the pasta. And of course, gotta add some salt to it. Time for the next pasta. Throw the penne in there, and we're gonna cook it until it's a minute or 2 before all done. Now we're gonna assemble the pizza casserole. I need a spoon. Got my spoon. Pretty much, we just mix the pasta ground beef, sauce, pepperoni, cheese all together and put in these dishes. I should not have preemptively put the ground beef in these dishes. Should have read all the directions. Oh well. Okay. Got just a little mix. Go ahead and add in our pizza sauce. I do think I'm going to fill this a little bit with water. I'm not too worried about this being a little watery just because it's going to be reheated again. Okay. I'm just going to mix. Now it says half a package of pepperoni, but it didn't say how big the package of pepperoni would be, so I think I'm going to do a third of this. Okay, I've added my pepperoni. The issue is they're all kind of sticking together. So I'm not quite sure what I want to do about that. I think I might actually take some out, layer them on the bottom here, and then kind of do that situation because they're just all sticking together. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Okay, that's a little bit better. I do think it needs more pepperoni, but I think I'm going to do that layering thing instead of adding it directly to the pot. Next, I'm going to add my cheese, not all of it, but most of it. And I'm going to add sprinkles and then I'm going to mix. And then I want to leave some, because I want to layer the top with pepperoni and I want to layer the top with more cheese.
You can see here that I was able to get 3 8x8 dishes filled. I did add that extra layer of pepperoni and cheese, and I have gone ahead and labeled the tops with what the recipe is, reheating instructions, and the date that it was prepared.
So I'm heating up oil in this pan. I'm going to add a third of our onions. I'm going to let this cook for about 5 minutes. Oops. I'm going to get this browned up, and then after about 5 minutes, I'm going to add some minced garlic to it. Onions have been cooking for about 5 minutes, and I'm going to add, this is a teaspoon, I'm going to do about 2. Let those cook for about 30 seconds, and then I'll add the ground beef. And now we're going to go ahead and add our 1 pound of ground beef. Get this browned and all mixed together. So my ground beef, onions, and garlic are all cooked. Now I put tomato paste in my freezer when I have excess. I can go ahead and add that. Turn my flame back on. I'm going to mix all this up until this melts. That's all mixed. And now you add in 28 ounces of diced tomatoes. I already had 1 can, so I only bought another one. And then we will mix all that up. Okay, next we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. We'll give this a mix, let it thicken for 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll set it aside. My water is boiling. It's time to put in my rotini. So this is the final product of the meat sauce for the cheeseburger casserole, and it definitely smells like a Big Mac. Right. So the pasta is done. You want it slightly undercooked because you will bake this after it freezes. So I'm gonna put it all in and start mixing together. Now you want to mix all of this up, and then I am gonna let this cool before I put it in the pans. That way it'll be fully cool by the time I have to top it with cheese. I have the noodles and the meat mixture here. I'm gonna pour it into all the pans, which I did spray with some Pam. And I'm gonna make it as even as I can. And I'm gonna top it with some shredded sharp cheddar cheese. So I was able to make 3. I'm going to top it with my cheddar cheese. And just like all the others, I've labeled their lids with what they are, the date, and cooking instructions. Okay, there you go. 3 more freezer meals made. Okay. And now that I have room on my stove, got my last pound of ground beef browning for the shepherd's pie. So the ground beef is cooked for the shepherd's pie. I'm going to add half a teaspoon of garlic powder. And then I'll add half a teaspoon of paprika and mix that all up. All right, so that garlic powder was supposed to be salt, so I'm going to add half a teaspoon of salt. All right, I'm almost ready to assemble the shepherd's pie. The last thing I have to do is get my cheese ready. Now you can buy pre-shredded cheese, but I found blocks of cheese on sale for a really good price. And I normally buy blocks of cheese because I think they last longer and taste better. So I got this new gadget for Christmas, so let's shred some cheese. So every time I've used this, like 3 times, there will get little chunks of cheese like this, which I guess you can save, but I just give it to my dog for a little treat. Jax! Hi! You see it? Good boy. We are all ready to assemble our shepherd's pie. Got the ground beef right here, my mashed potatoes, my shredded cheese, and I just drained 2 cans of vegetable medley. So the directions don't say to spray your pan, but I'm going to, because I feel like it can't hurt to. Then we're gonna add ground beef. Ooh. I actually think this might make 2 pies. I'll be right back. So I did decide to switch it into 2. I did as even of a layer as I could. Now I've got 2 cans of mixed veggies that I've drained. I kind of wish I didn't combine them before, but I'm just gonna layer them as best I can. Made it as even of a layer as I could. And then next we're going to go ahead and add our mashed potatoes. Okay, got my mashed potatoes on there the best I can. I did notice I didn't mash them quite so perfectly. But now we're just going to add a layer of cheese, and then we'll cover them up, put instructions, and we'll be all set. All assembled, I went ahead and put the information on the cover. So what it is, shepherd's pie, when I made it, how long it should be good for, and directions from frozen, 400-degree oven, 45 to 50 minutes. Can you tell what we're making next? Right, so the next meal I'm going to make will be some stuffed, some jumbo stuffed shells. I've never made them before. I'm kind of hoping I don't need to use the big dish for it. My goal is to use all the little ones. Got my water boiling, add some salt to it, and I'm going to work on the mixture. I'll give this a couple more minutes before I add all the pasta. It's a gross sound. So in here I have the 15 ounces of ricotta, half a cup of Parmesan, 1 egg, and 2 teaspoons each of basil, and some Parmesan. And it sounds like my water is ready, so I'm going to get the pasta. Water's ready. Pour in my 6 ounces of pasta. And lastly, I shredded an 8-ounce block of mozzarella cheese.
My pasta is done. Now you have to run it under cold water to cool to touch. My pasta is cooling. Got my 2 pans. I give them a quick spray. Okay. And then in here I have half my marinara jar with 2 tablespoons of water. I'm going to mix it between the 2 and evenly disperse on the bottom best I can. How about as even as I'm going to get it, so I'm going to set it to the side. Got my shells that have cooled and my mixture. I am not sure how much of this should go in here. It just says fill, but don't overfill. I'm going to do a tablespoon. I'm going to do roughly a tablespoon in each shell. I tried a tablespoon and a half and it was just overfilling. I know I'm putting too much thought into this, but it is what it is. So I'm just going to place this into our baking dish and repeat. I had some technical difficulties. I have too many shells, not enough mixture. And I put them in the wrong side, so I had to flip them. But you know what? It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Next up, we're going to pour marinara sauce on. So I divided up this just 24-ounce jar in half, and then put half on the bottom, half on the top. So I'm just going to go ahead, pour this. Good enough. This jar. So I ended up fitting 11 stuffed shells in each, which feels like a good number to me. My goal was 12, but I ran out of mixture. It was very close. Okay, and again, calling that good enough. And I have about 8 ounces of mozzarella that I'm just going to sprinkle on top. The stuffed shells are done. I've written on the covers just stuffed jumbo shells, the date and instructions, which are to thaw overnight, bake at 350 for 45 minutes, uncovered. Now, I've never really been a huge like pasta fan, like simple penne, marinara. I'm pretty much good to go. Don't really do lasagnas. Definitely don't do stuffed shells. And after making these, I understand why. This was a lot of work. Not the actual like boiling of the pasta or making the mixture or anything like that, but trying to actually stuff the shells, I thought was a big pain. I wasn't sure if I had the right amount. I put too much in some, so that I didn't have enough for others. So like they're all disproportionately sized. I did my best. It should be really yummy. I'm hoping she likes it. If not, this is a lot of work for nothing. So next thing we're making is some sausage egg breakfast roll-up thing. Pictures aren't real appealing, but it's crescent rolls, cheese, sausage, and eggs. So what's not to like? Okay, greased up my pan. Oh, got my 6 eggs. Hot commodity right now. Okay, cracked all 6 eggs, just right into the pan. All my other dishes are dirty, and I don't want to dirty up another one after all this cooking. So I'm just going to scramble right in the pot. And then I'm just going to season with salt and pepper, keep it really simple. Got all my crescent rolls on here. I already took my 8 slices of cheese and cut them in half. I'm going to go ahead and place those. I've got my 6 scrambled eggs here with just salt and pepper.
and go ahead and add it as evenly as I can. So I have the cheese on there best I can. Now the hard part is adding the sausage link and then rolling it up. So wish me luck. Okay. So these, I don't think you can really see them. I did my best and I kind of wrapped them up, trying to keep the egg and cheese inside. It clearly didn't work with all of them. I'm gonna put this in a 350-degree oven for about 15 to 18 minutes until this is golden brown. Okay, so I cooked for about 15 minutes at 350, and then I bumped up to 375. And they are looking a lot better. Alright, I moved these to a cooling rack because I do want them 100% cooled before I move them. The breakfast sausage roll-ups are done. I'm gonna let them cool, and then I'm probably gonna wrap each one in either parchment paper or tin foil and try and put a few into gallon-sized bags. That way they can just take 1 or 2 out for breakfast, and hopefully this will last them at least 3 or 4 days worth of breakfast. Right, we are on to our chicken broccoli rice casserole. I'm sure everyone has had this or seen this. It's really nothing that creative, but it's got protein, it's got carbs, it's got veggies. Simple, and here's what you need. For this recipe, I did need my chicken already cooked and my rice already cooked. So I bought a rotisserie from Costco, and I've got my rice going right now. So I did wash and rinse the rice. I've got 3 cups of rice in here. I've never made that much. I have 3 cups of homemade chicken stock that I defrosted out of my freezer, but that was not enough. So I took one of those powders and I made 3 more cups. Now, from the instructions, she was very clear, like, this is an important step. Cook your rice in chicken broth for the flavors. All right. Got my 6 cups of rice. Oh my god, this is so much rice. Just gonna fluff it up a little bit. This was all cooked in the chicken stock, and now to work on the chicken. So I put in all the rotisserie chicken into my stand mixer for it to do the shredding for me. Right now I've got 6 tablespoons of salted butter melting. This recipe is very simple. The only thing I'm adding is some of that onion that I cut up the other day. So my plan is to saute the onion, and then I'll follow the rest of the directions. I think it'll add a really nice depth of flavor and another veggie into the dish. Okay. Once your butter has melted, your onions and garlic have sauteed a little bit, you're going to put in your cooked 6 cups of rice. I'm going to add in 1.5 cups of milk. I'm going to give that a mix, and then I'm going to add half of the cheese. I'm going to attempt to do this one-handed and try and mix everything together. And once the cheese is fully melted, we'll move on to the next step. I had to switch to a sturdier spoon. The cheese is melted. Next, we're going to add 5 cups of the shredded chicken. I'm going to go ahead and add a teaspoon of garlic powder and a teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to give it a good mix. Okay, I added the broccoli. I'm going to give this a mix. But this thing is completely full. I'm going to mix it and then cook it on medium for 5 minutes. Okay, mixing that when it was jam-packed full took so much arm strength. Like, my shoulders are so sore. I'm going to go ahead and see how many of these it will fill. I did go ahead and spray it with Pam. The recipe says it should fit 3 of these. I think it might fit more.
So we'll see. All right. So I have emptied out the entire pot, filled up the aluminum foil pans. Anyone want to guess how many pans that thing actually filled? I'll give you a second if you want to add to the comments. So the directions say it should fit 3, right? 3. Cool. I have 5. Yep. Supposed to be 3. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I hope they really like chicken and broccoli. All right. The chicken, broccoli, rice, cheese casseroles are all done. I've got their labels, what they are, the date, and instructions, which is just to let it thaw overnight and then bake at 350, 25 to 30 minutes, and you're done. All right, you guys, we are making the last meal. I was originally gonna make this enchilada recipe I found that had some leftover pot roast that I used instead of the meat. But all my meals got messed up and I didn't end up making the pot roast for dinner, so I didn't have leftovers. Long story short. So I'm gonna use about 3 cups of the rotisserie chicken, and I'm going to make an enchilada bake that I actually saw on a Frugal Fit Mom video. I'll link that down below to her video. She makes amazing things on a budget. I absolutely love her. Yeah, so let's get started. Go ahead and make my sauce for the enchilada bake. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, after some technical difficulties, we are back on track. We finally got our jars open. I did have to make my own taco seasoning, which I have never done before. No idea how this will taste, but it was on the top of my Google search. So let's get started. Went ahead and added in my black beans. I'm going to add in about 1 onion to this. Okay, need a spoon. Okay. I want to add, I didn't have instructions. I think I'm going to start with a 1/4 cup and just see how it feels. I've got my 1/4 cup of taco seasoning. Go ahead and add that all in here. I'm going to give it a good mix. I've got the rest of my rotisserie chicken. I don't actually know how much I have left. Oops. 1 cup, 2 cup. Okay, there's like nothing left, so. This is probably the equivalent of about 2 1/4 cup to 2 1/3. So I'm just gonna mix all this in. Okay, that looks great. I'm just gonna go ahead and set this to the side, and then we'll get our tray ready.
we are all done. I can tell you my feet hurt from standing. I got a good arm workout trying to make that broccoli cheese casserole. I'm really excited to try all of these freezer meals over the next about 2 months, because none of them were really complicated, but I see probably more freezer prep in the future will probably be more crock pot meals, more dump and goes that'll be a lot easier to prep and get ready, rather than these where I had to like cook the ground beef and I had to boil the pasta and to get all that done. So I do think if we like these meals, we might end up making them again for a dinner, but making the same portion size, eating half of it then for dinner, and then freezing the rest for dinner like next month or something. That in my mind makes more sense than making all of these again. So $73.20, made 50 meals, came out to $1.46 for a meal, which is amazing. I got all her freezer meals packed up in my trunk and go bring it over to the parents-to-be. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this and got something out of it. I definitely did. I'm really excited to try these meals in the next few months. If you can go ahead, give this video a thumbs up, and if you want to leave a comment down below if you'd like to see more of these or more like crock pot meals. I'm definitely into that idea. Just let me know your thoughts. And if you've ever made any of these, let me know. But I'm signing off. So thank you guys so much for watching. I love cooking and I love sharing it with you guys. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.